Welcome to another edition of Real Deal Flix, and today we'll be going through the 1987 movie The Running Man with a good buddy of mine, Harry.
I'm not your buddy, friend. He's not your friend, guy. I'm not your guy, buddy. He's not your buddy, friend.
How you going?
So, first off, this is a movie that you picked, right? A movie that you selected. Any reason why you picked this one?
Look, it's got so many classic moments in it. I had it on VHS. I had so many movies on video, but for whatever reason, this was just a classic for me. Like, it just had, 80s action style, your classic one-liners.
Give you a lift?
I know the movie pretty much line by line, And who loves you? And who do you love?
Like you said, there's a lot of great one-liners. Arnie just basically tells him that he'll be back.
Only in a rerun.
And then you've got they're basking in the Maui sun. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
It's like all these skeletons. That's great.
They're supposed to pay their debt to society, but it was all bullshit. You know what I mean? That's
right.
Yeah. Another great line is it's like, Gillian, I hope you have enough space for my fist.
It's because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine!
And then you've got, what happened to Buzzsaw?
He had the split.
I don't know. There were just so many brilliant one-liners,
Here is Sub-Zero! Now, Plane Zero!
$200 on Richard!
$200 on Richard!
Like, there were so many great moments in the movie,
But this was the same year that Predator came out. So, that's two big movies for Arnie.
Yeah, he nailed it with both, in my opinion.
One ugly motherfucker.
It certainly has a really real comic book feel to it. You know what I mean? Like, the villains are very over the top. Also kind of like wrestling, right? Each villain has a very different demeanor, different weapon that they use, So I think you look back at it now, I think it really has a certain charm, and cheese to it. But I think that's what works well with this film.
That's right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that that's part of the facade that they're putting on for the TV show. Everything else outside of that isn't glamorized. You've got all these poor people watching the TV on the screen, yelling out, making bets, living in slums, but they're creating this facade of everything's amazing, everything's perfect. You've got these fantastic prizes and giveaways.
Well, I guess it's almost like a distraction, from their miserable lives,
That's the whole point behind it, and that's why I love it, more because it's so watch over here while I'm stealing from over here sort of thing. You don't see what's actually happening, and it's quite accurate with how they predicted how things would be now with we're just gonna, mass media is gonna sort of just give you this idea of, TikTok, this, that, whatever, try to distract you, get you to watch TV. Americans love television, blah, blah, blah. It's still going on. It hasn't changed. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think the underlying message of the movie, I think it really, it's really more relevant now than ever. Let me ask you, this is obviously, a pretty violent movie. Let me ask you, when was your first memory of watching this movie? As an adult or as a...
No, I would have been... 7, 10, something like that. Because we had it on video, so it would have been a couple of years after it was on cinema, and then they released it on TV, and then my brother recorded it on video. And videos back then, nobody had 400 videos. You built it up with time and all that sort of stuff. But this was one of those, you had Cobra.
Clean up your act.
You had Rambo, you had, and this was one of those videos that was just great. I'll just watch that.
But isn't it crazy? Just, you look at what we were allowed to watch, back in, 80s and 90s, we could watch, because this was a narrated movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Jeez.
So, you know, as
Yeah,
a
it makes sense.
6-year-old kid watching an R-rated movie, you know, it's just different times. It's
When you think about some of the deaths, you know, you've got you know, Sub-Zero getting like strangled with a razor. You've got Buzzsaw. You know, that was insane. You could see the blood like coming out.
he gets
I
cut
love
from the
that
middle.
scene. That was crazy. And then you've got what was his name? Flamethrower guy. What was his name?
Fireball. Yeah, Fireball.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I think because you're obviously you know, the younger brother, right? So you probably you know, got a little influence from, you know, your older brother, right?
He was always Arnie. I was more Stallone. I liked Running Man more than I liked Commando, because Commando is literally just shooting people, guns and muscle and explosions and all of that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Whereas with Running Man, there's more subtext behind what they're trying to say, or what, better yet, what the meaning behind the show is, you know, the literal show. So that's why I liked it, because it was more than just, you know, let's just go in there and kill everyone. I liked that it was this sort of double meaning, you know.
Yeah. My favorite in the movie is when Richard Dawson, that's the actor. He's actually a real life. Oh, he actually was a game show host. I think in Family Feud.
Something Russia's famous for, Bob.
Russians.
You think he's been lying and he's not been anywhere at all?
Gillian, you know, like he's asking, I think an old lady, you know, it's like, oh, you know, who do you think is the next, who's going to get the next kill? And she's like,
Ben Richards.
it's like, hey, wait, you know, you can't choose the runner. It has to be.
You got to choose a stalker.
I can pick anyone I choose. And I choose Ben Richards. That boy's one mean motherfucker.
Yeah.
She's just the most charming, like, nice lady, and she just fucking has a bit of a foul mouth, you know?
yeah. And that actually, like, that's the turning point as well, when, like, the presenter doesn't know what he's meant to do. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you can only choose this. It's like, no, I'm going to choose this, and you can't edit it because it's live. And so then that started to get the rest of the underworld, or, you know, poor people or whatever, start to, you know, triggered that movement. So, yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of live TV. Anything can happen.
So, yeah, there was so many great elements that, I don't know, they just stuck with me, that resonated. It wasn't just like Arnie in camo running around and just blowing up bad guys. It was like Arnie, he's unarmed, he's got to improvise, he's got like the nerd guy, what was his name? Weiss, and then he's got the other guy as well.
Yeah, actually, the other guy, I think it's Loglin or something like that. But I know he's actually he's actually in Alien. He's actually one of the guys in Alien.
Which one?
You know, he's one of the crew members. Parker.
Oh, that rings a bell. And then you had Captain Freedom as well.
Oh man, the best. I mean, Jesse Ventura. I mean, that's him to a T.
I know. I loved
Captain Freedom, man. Like when he's doing those poses on that video.
Your jealousy and leave your message.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And then he cracks it. He cracked the shits when they put him in that like plasticky armor, you know, TV show. He's like, I don't want the bullshit. I just want to be in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I don't want the gimmick. You know what I mean? Just yeah.
Yeah. But that's hilarious. That's right. He was great in it. I loved his. Yeah, exactly. He was so connected with his character. It's exactly Jesse Ventura. That's what he would do. Yeah, and you had the chick as well.
Amber. Yeah. Man, she's also in. She's the chick in Predator 2.
And Aliens, isn't she in Aliens as well?
No. Everyone gets that mixed up. No. She's not Vasquez. Vasquez, plays John Connor's foster mum.
Your foster parents are dead.
Yeah, that's where.
Yeah. But Amber, I forgot what her name is. Maria Alonso, I think it is. She's a chick in Predator 2. You know, the one that I think, you know, grabs Bill Paxton's nuts.
Yeah. That's right. I remember that.
There's actually a lot of people, like there's a lot of guys, actors in this movie from like other great movies, like other great 80s stuff. Even Dynamo. I mean, I think I heard that he died pretty young, but he was the big guy in Stir Crazy. You know the big guy in jail from Stir Crazy.
I don't remember that scene.
Oh, anyway,
the movie, of course.
Yeah. He's one of the main guys in that movie. That's a great movie.
Come here a minute. I want to talk to you.
Go to you. Amazing.
Excuse me.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Sorry.
Don't touch
Sorry.
it. We don't touch it.
I'll see you later.
Don't
I'm just going to stand over here for a while.
leave me, please.
No. I'll just be over here.
And then you've got like you had the guest appearance from Mick Fleetwood as well, which I didn't even know until later. So Mick Fleetwood plays Mick, which is one of the rebel leaders that kind of comes in, but intercepts the broadcast. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. From Fleetwood Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The other character, which I love, is, and I don't know his name. Who's the guy from Wayne's World?
It's Kurt Fuller. He's great.
It's okay. He's gonna be okay. Hi, how's it going?
He's also in Ghostbusters too. Mate, he's in a lot of movies as like just side characters, but he just nails it every time.
Character, yeah.
Man, I watched a movie like a while ago. He was in it, and just made that movie a lot better. Even though the movie wasn't that great, it was No Holds Barred with it's a Hulk Hogan movie, and he's in it.
Oh yeah,
and man, I just like it just helps the movie. It really does. Just having him in there.
Yeah. You just know straight away when you see his face. You're like,
what was the name? Love it.
But that's the thing. Like you've got, and that's the other thing about these characters and what they brought to the table as a game show. You know, Buzzsaw, Dynamo, Sub-Zero, what was his name? Fireball. You know, then you had Captain Freedom. Like all is great. Like man,
they're great. They're great. Yeah, I remember like when Buzzsaw headbutts that dude. You know. He's like so excited, that he got whacked.
Yes, the fans with it as well were they were like when they cut to. Do you remember how they cut to like the little box, the little scene where you had this like corporate box watching the show? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then you cut to like guys out in the yard, like warming themselves.
Everyone's watching this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell that like this is like a big deal. You know what I mean? There's something that like everyone. You know what I mean? That doesn't matter what class you are. Poor, middle class. You know what I mean? Rich. It's like it's something that everyone watches.
Which is perfect timing, like now with the FIFA, where it's like everyone will stop what they're doing and tune in and stay up late and get up early and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. No matter like your walk of life, doesn't matter your creed, anything. It's just everyone will watch it. Despite any concerns. You know what I mean about like the way it's run. People will still watch it because it's such a big event.
Yeah.
But I mean, like this was really one of the first of its kind, right? I mean, because after this, you had things like I think that Japanese movie from I think 2000, Battle Royale, and then you had like what's that other? It's that series of books. I think it was Hunger Games. That's right, Hunger Games.
Yeah.
So again, like it's all that same concept. You know what I mean? It's all just putting people in a scenario where you got to survive.
Poor people got to survive. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean for people's entertainment.
Yeah.
This was actually a Stephen King story, which I'm not surprised because Stephen King's amazing.
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
But yeah, it's classic. You know what I mean? Like First Blood was a book as well beforehand.
Yeah.
That's like if you read the book, there's a different ending to Stallone's character. Or John.
Yeah. It's a lot darker. Yeah. I remember
much darker
when they had the screening for that movie. I think people were pretty upset with it.
Smithies, are they bullying me?
No, they're saying Boo earns. Boo earns.
Are you saying boo or boo-earns? I was saying boo-earns.
Yeah,
so that to
that's
change
right.
the ending right at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I can imagine that. Imagine if he died and there was no more Rainbow movies after. Guess what? You know what I mean? Like,
Are you kidding?
I'm trying to imagine a world without like Rambo 2 and 3, you know?
And if you're from the 80s watching this movie, this will tick all of your boxes. You know what I mean? Classic action, real like violence, do you know what I mean? Fun entertainment, game show. It's got underlying themes. It's not just, you know, like just generic sort of Commando style where it just blows stuff up. And again, Commando is just, if you just want to watch someone just sit there, blow stuff up. This has a bit more behind it. You know, there's creativity behind it. It's the first time sort of Arnie doesn't have a gun running into things first. He's like unarmed and he's got to work around it, you know?
Yeah.
He's not working with a specialist team. He's just working with a couple of dudes. Do you know what I mean? And they have to sort of survive, you know? Yeah, look, I mean, if we go back to watching it when I was young, I come from a family of, well, there were 4 of us, 4 siblings. But hunting and things like that wasn't uncommon. Do you know what I mean? But for me, it was more about the whole, like, underdog side of things in that sense. And I think that that's what appeals to me. So basically, my brother, he was all about the muscle, the biggest, the this, the that. You know, Red Heat, you had Arnie as the biggest, you know, and he was the strongest and he never got beaten, sort of thing. You had, you know, the bodybuilding, what was it? Pumping Iron.
Got a beautiful body, man.
You know, then you had Commando, then you had, and I was like, you know what? I kind of like that Arnie is not like in his prime position. Yes, he's the muscle, but he's not shown to be the muscle in this movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, he is weaponless. He's not like a strength guy. Yes, there's a couple of scenes here and there, and yes, he fights, but you don't look at the guy as a figure of muscle in the movie. Do you know what I mean? And I like that he was still the underdog up against all these guys, you know. So being the youngest in my family, I like that sort of side of things, you know.
When you were younger, you preferred Stallone over Arnie. I mean, and Stallone,
Yeah.
you know, always, I mean, look, Rocky is the biggest underdog story, right? I mean, that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's basically what the story is. So, yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, but even he's handicapped in this. He's not on even grounds, you know. And that's how you always feel with like an older brother who's 5 years older. It's just, okay, great. Where's the handicap to make things even, sort of thing, you know, or you know, you're always at a handicap, so you need to fight your way up in that sense, you know.
Hey, what are big brothers for?
So it wasn't about guns and this explosions, and it was like, no, you've got to use your smarts to get around this versus just face to face, because you wouldn't win face to face, you know. The first scene against Sub-Zero, you've got the razor wire he pulls off, and then he uses it to get him down and then choke him and things like that. Then you've got the same thing with Buzzsaw. He uses his own weapon against him to kill him, you know what I mean? All of those things were like, well, you don't even have a weapon yourself. You're using your own enemy's weapon against them, sort of thing, or your own enemy's surroundings. Same thing, Dynamo up on the hill. It wasn't even Arnie's weapon, you know. Yeah, so that was the real appeal. And again, the violence didn't even just, you didn't notice it back then. I don't know, it was a completely different era, you know. You ride your bikes at night, you go running around, you go this, and it was there was always this funny thing when because I used to like running, but not like running long distances, more like sprints. When there was a car driving up, you know, in the area, you'd like pretend it was Dynamo or something and sprint harder. I could get past this tree before something sort of catches, you know, to make it past the point, otherwise you die, sort of thing. Or, you know, so you make up these own little games, you know. And that was the thing, you always fuck around with an older brother who'll just obviously just dominate you like the bad guys, and just like get not really do it, but like an extension cord and whatever, and like buzzsaw. Like, hey, watch this, you know, it'll bring out a real chainsaw.
What, do you want to see my new chainsaw and hockey mask?
What are you doing? It's just like, it's got the cover on it and everything. That you're just like, hey, I'm Buzzsaw. It's like, it's like, why? Why do you need to do that?
I can imagine your brother doing that. Running around the house pretending he's Buzzsaw.
Yeah. Why would you bring a chainsaw inside the house? You know what I mean? Without the cover on it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, as a kid, right, you just see the spectacle, what I mean? You see the spectacle, the lights, the action, and you kind of, I guess, you don't really realize the subtext, what I mean? Like that the movie's trying to tell you. But, once you're an adult, then it's like, oh, yeah, what I mean? It's more than just like, guys just trying to kill themselves, what I mean? There's a bit more behind it, so.
It's all smoke and mirrors, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all just an illusion, basically. Yeah, and that's why the appeal is there, because you can still watch it, enjoy it, For me, it's just that whole, growing up and just having something different that's not just a generic action movie that is against the odds. And then the other thing is as well, you've got the scene in the helicopter where he gets manipulated into like the media edits out his actual footage of what he reported.
Eliminate anything moving. All rioters must be eliminated.
The hell with you. I will not fire on helpless people.
But actually says that he ended up killing all of these people.
The crowd is unarmed. Repeat, unarmed. Abort attack. Acknowledge Yankee 99er.
The hell with you.
So it's like they paint him in the bad picture in that sense, And that's the other thing that I liked as a kid. It was like, it's not just a straightforward,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is just horrible.
But you believe it because it's on mass media, because it's on TV,
Yeah.
And it's the only viewership that you've got because you don't have a voice,
You see it a lot, right? I mean, where people can just edit a clip and just show like a little clip, and it's like without the rest of the video, you lose the context, what I mean, of what the person's trying to say, what I mean? So, I mean, it's like, it's very common. You just edit a video in such a way where it can make someone look bad. But, if you have the full context, it's like, it can tell a very different story. And, it's funny right at the end where, where they do that whole like face, where they switch the faces, deep fake thing, right? I mean, that's coming. That's right now. That's the thing that happens right now. I mean, where, you can actually put, famous people's faces on, other people. So you see like legit, like deep fake stuff, what I mean? Where like, again, people's faces, mate. And like, I think I saw one with Tom Cruise and mate, like he looked legit like Tom Cruise, what I mean? But it's not, it's like, it's mind blowing, mate. Like when we're pretty much there anyway, as far as like that technology is, and, and like, that'll be technology that, might be used for bad, going forward.
And then what else is there? So at the very end, right, the security guard walks up, the personal bodyguard, and Killian's like, oh, you're in trouble now, sort of thing. And then the guy just sits there, looks at him, and he's like,
I got to score some steroids.
He says this one line, and then he just walks off because he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not here. Sorry. I don't give a
because
shit.
because he's been insulting him like throughout the whole movie.
What's the matter? Steroids make you deaf? Get him out of here now!
So he just had enough of him.
The other biggest appeal about this as well is I love the soundtrack. The main theme. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. That same style of music is what I listen to when I'm driving sometimes as well. Like what do you call it?
Like synth?
Yeah, it's like a synth, but it's also like a mid-tempo, deep bass, cyberpunk, blah, blah, blah. Like it's still within line of what you would hear in that sense, So yeah, it still resonates with me today without even knowing. I just realized that now that I'm still listening to the bass, like the core soundtrack style today.
I mean, it's a great soundtrack.
Harold Faltermeyer.
That's it. He also did.
So what's he done?
Mate, like Fletch.
Oh, no way.
Beverly Hills Cop. Top Gun. They all have such a great, like, just feel to them.
Yeah, they're all classics, though. You can't go past them.
Like, it's very specific for the 80s, you know what I mean? Like, that style of music. Yeah. But even, again, even the final song, you know, by John Parr, Restless Hearts. John Parr, I mean, he's also the guy who did St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh, what a track!
Yeah, it's a great track.
That theme, anyway, you know. But that's the thing. You've got so many classics. Yeah, I guess there was so much appeal behind it because of it being much more than just like you're watching a movie about a show, you know, that's trying to tell viewers this is what reality is, or this is the only thing you need to watch, you know. That's the appeal. So
yeah. It has a very like dystopian feel, kind of like what do you call it? Kind of like RoboCop. Yeah, like it always reminds me of the you know, the ads in RoboCop. You know, all the like they would cut to ads. Like I remember, like there was a board game that was called Nukem. You know, it was like a nuclear.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Even this movie has an ad where the guy's going up the rope, and he's like climb for cash or something like that. Do you remember? And the dogs are underneath barking. You know, it's that just, you know, it's just become everyone's become so desensitized. You know what I mean?
But yeah, this was just the one that stuck out for me. That's got, you know, so many different characters, so much variety, so much underdog like themes behind it.
Would you say it's almost like do you remember like American Gladiators? That show, which is, you know, I think we had our own version, Australian Gladiators.
Yeah. That's right.
Again, in the mid-90s, they brought Australian Gladiators to TV, and he still always reminded me of the Running Man. You know what I mean? Just like a toned-down version of the Running Man. I
guess you never really, you only went for why would you go for Barry from, you know, Wodonga or whatever, you know?
Yeah, when you can go for Viper.
How's that guy? When you've got, Viper, are you kidding? Look at this specimen, you know, look at this guy. You know, Barry's trying to get across, he's going to make it. Oh, no, Viper knocks him out. What happened there, Barry? Tried to get through, but he hit me in the head too many times or something. You know, the post, like, you know, game interview or whatever, but yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for having a chat with me and going through one of the movies that, you know, obviously, you know, has been with you for, you know, at least 30 years. Yeah. So again, man, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, dude.
No worries, anytime.
Thanks for listening to us ramble on. I hope to see you all in the next episode. Take care and good journey.
Say good journey.